Welcome to Unstoppable Stories That Move. I'm your host, Sally Hed Dahlquist. I've traveled all over the world to run marathons and am fascinated by the ordinary people who do extraordinary things. They just won't quit. No matter what life throws at them, they keep going. Mile after mile, challenge after challenge, they find a way to push beyond their limits. So listen as these seemingly normal people share their stories of resilience from the race course and beyond, and inspire us to keep moving forward too. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I'm Sally Hed Dahlquist, zooming in from Afton, Minnesota. And today we are going global. I'm here today with the unstoppable Guillaume de Rémacle from France. Guillaume, can you say hi to everyone?
Hi everyone.
Hi, thanks for being here today. Guy is a modern explorer, an adventurer who has been traveling the world since 2011 and visiting the poles since 2018. He is a polar expedition guide as part of the Ocean Youth Academy, which was founded to bring the wonder, science, and inspiration of the polar regions to students everywhere, regardless of geography or background. Guy is now an author who just wrote an illustrated children's book on Antarctica, in French, of course, and the English version will be published in September 2026, which is already on Amazon. It's called Destination Antarctica, the Frozen Continent Bursting with Life. Guy is also an everyday athlete who has done crazy sport challenges, like hiking the Kepler track in New Zealand in one day, which is a 37-mile loop, which usually takes 3 to 4 days. And Guy won the half marathon in Antarctica in 2023, which is where we met. Now today, Guy is taking on the biggest challenge of his life. He started his own business guiding adventure trips to places around the world like Svalbard. I mean, where's that? It's in the North Atlantic. And there's a lot more to Guy's story. He says if he stops moving, he feels like he is dying. He has that travel bug. What makes him tick? So let's hear from Guillaume. Hi, Guy. Thanks for being on. How are you? And where in the world are you today?
Hey, I'm very good. Thank you so much for the interview and the opportunity to speak. And funny enough, I'm in France for once.
Are you at home?
Yes, I just arrived actually. I was away for 3 weeks, and I'm taking a plane tomorrow to go to Svalbard. So it's just a quick stopover to change the inside of my backpack and get ready for a colder adventure.
So why Svalbard?
Because I'm getting a contract to work in the Arctic, and because this place is really amazing, fascinating, with of course polar bears, but a big range of animals and flowers and whatever that you can find in the Arctic, and is just struggling for life, and super nice to go there.
How long are you going to be working up there?
Just 12 days this time, and then I'll head to Greenland further in the summer.
Oh, okay. So in the meantime, though, you've been traveling around France promoting your book.
Yeah, that's right. I wrote this book that is about Antarctica, about the ecosystem of Antarctica, how the ice and the animals are all linked together, and lots of little tips about how animals survive and adapt to polar regions in Antarctica. And I wrote this book because I really wanted to talk about those topics with kids for now in France. And so since March, I've been touring schools all around France to go in classrooms and talk to kids about Antarctica and showing them pictures and videos that I took, but making them understand how fragile are those ecosystems. And they love it. So today was my final day. I just did 9 schools in the last 2 weeks, which involves a lot of classrooms and a lot of kids.
Oh, so what do they like about it? What's their favorite part of your show?
That I didn't ask them, but I got some very cool videos of whales and penguins that are usually quite a hit. There's one specifically they are penguins getting out of the water, and it's early season, so it's still end of October, early November, and there's still a big snow bank on the beach that is between 1 and 2 meters high, and penguins have to make big jumps, like all the way up to 2 meters, to reach the snowbank. And so you see them taking some speeds in the water and making those big jumps. And of course, a lot of them are missing out. So they just bump into the snow and fall back into the water. And that is hilarious. And the camera is moving because I'm laughing at the same time as I'm filming. And the kids love it. They just keep laughing and laughing. And it's a hit for sure.
Yeah, when I was in Antarctica, we saw that too. You took us out on these little rubber rafts and could watch the penguins try and pop out of the water. And where we were, the water was shallower near the shore, so they couldn't get enough speed to get on this little bump of ice. So they just kept sliding back into the water.
Yeah, they're so funny.
Yeah, so I loved reading your book. I actually got a copy of the French version.
Did you?
Yeah. Me and my niece Samantha had taken French for travelers last year. And so I got out my little Google Translate and read the whole thing. It's very cute.
I'm quite amazed that you did that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And what I really liked about the book is the characters. So there's you, the guide named Mark. I was wondering why you named him Mark. Why didn't you name him Guillaume?
But because I didn't want me to be the main character, so I chosen Mark, which is a very good friend of mine. It was my first best friends in Antarctica, working in this industry, and so I chose him to be the main character. So he's from Canada and he's bald as my character in the book. And he's making some jokes that is like some running joke that he does all the time that are actually on the book. So it's a little tribute to my friend Mark.
Oh, that's very nice. There's you, and then you're in the classroom teaching these kids. So there's 8 kids, and I also love that you have a hamster. They have a little pet. Is her name Kraka? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Krakot. The English version is crackers. That's exactly what it is, a cracker.
Cracket. Yeah, so it's a little hamster, and she's taken care of by Tomoko, one of the little girls in the class, and you have to find the hamster on every page.
Yeah.
And sometimes the hamster gets cold. And you have, of these 8 kids, you can see their personalities. There's Ramona. I think she gets scared and she's worried about how cold it's going to be.
Yeah.
Adam is worried about safety. He wants to make sure his life jacket is going to work. Yeah. There's Matt, who's a little artist and is very curious about everything Antarctica and wants to paint the landscape. So with all these little kids have a million questions for you. Like, how deep is the ocean there?
That's a classical question that we receive all the time as guides. So I really wanted to be part of it. And my editor was like, maybe this question is not very interesting. We should delete it. Like, no, this question has to be here. It's the main question we're asked every single day on our boats when we're in Antarctica. How deep is the water here? We can never answer, of course, because who knows how deep is the water. And as for the kids, you did a quite nice survey. They're actually my nephews, the 8 of them. And I changed a little bit the names, but not all the names. And I've tried to choose their character and put it in the book. So it's quite personal. Yeah, it made it easier to read. It was more engaging with the story. And you point out that they also ask if they can get eaten by polar bears. Uh-huh. And tell us the answer. No, there's no polar bears in Antarctica. How could they get bitten there? It's a trick question. There's no polar bears down there. So people get that frequently confused. And you have a nice graphic that the Arctic on the North Pole, it's all water and ice. It's basically just a point on the globe, versus Antarctica is actually a continent with land. That's right, yes. It's one of the first things I try to explain kids in classroom is the difference between the 2 poles, is that the Arctic is an ocean surrounded by continents, like Russia, Europe, Greenland, Canada, and the US with Alaska, versus Antarctica that is a continent surrounded by ocean. So Antarctica is ice, but based on solid rocks and mountains and volcanoes, when the Arctic is a frozen ocean, which is very, very different in many ways. So yeah, that's the first thing. And then polar bears are in the Arctic, and quite often when we talk about Antarctica, people see the Arctic because there's much more information, much more movies, much more things, and much more history between mankind and the North. And so in people's general awareness, when you talk about an ice environment, they see North Pole and polar bears. So when you say Antarctica, they just go straight to the north, and you have to explain that, no, it's the south, there's also ice, it's different, and there's no polar bears there. But I love talking about Antarctica. Don't get me started. So we met in 2024. I went down there in March with Marathon Tours. And by the way,
We're still in touch with quite a few people from that tour group. And so we've got the streakers, Ria and Michelle and Jen and a couple other people who say hi.
Ah, so nice. So such great people. I'm quite happy to be in touch with them too.
Yeah, you were quite the party animal. They had the bar night disco every night when we were done with the island. And I really remember you wearing this really fun silver snowsuit.
Oh, no.
You were working as the MC for karaoke night, and it was just great. And I thought, there is more to this guy than just a guide. He's super fun too.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a suit that was left on the ship by a group of influencers who came in 2021. And there were 60 of them, and they all came with those suits with that came in different colors. And when they left us one or two of those suits, and this silver blue one has been my precious since then. And I wear it every time I do something, and I hope no one else is wearing it because I never watch it. And God, it's hot inside.
Yes. Yeah, it looked hot. So it was exploring on a rubber boat during the day and having cocktails and karaoke at night on the ship. It was really an amazing trip.
Sounds like a fun program.
Yeah. How long did it take you to write the graphic novel?
I guess it's the whole project lasts for 2 years. The writing took me a bit of while, but then it's never over till it's over, right? So like the writing, you are constantly working on it and changing it because I started first by putting down all the information, scientific information that I wanted to advertise to show in the book. And after that, I had to make the work of putting that into dialogues between characters and finding ways to make the book entertaining so that you can learn, but at the same time, don't get bored with it, just like a shower of information. So that was a big work. But at the end of the day, there were still far too many words. And so my editor and the illustrator, when we were working, the three of us together, were always telling me, Guy, it has to be shorter here, find a shorter sentence, maybe rewrite, reword. So yeah, until the really end, I was working on the text. So it's really a 2 years project. But I would say the main base that I wrote for the illustrator to start working, it took me about a year, I would say.
Wow. Yeah, it's really succinct and it's hard to cut words when you wrote something that is just beautiful and then you have to cut it out of your novel.
Yeah, and it's also the information, right? You gather information that you think are super interesting and relevant, but then you are contained to 64 pages and you're like, okay, which information am I giving up? Oh my God, I'm giving up on whales. Oh my God, I'm giving up on orcas. Oh my God, I can't give up on penguins. Oh my God, I have to give up on penguins too. So yeah, that was a bit hard to just remove some information and just choosing some over others. But yeah, it's a fun exercise also to synthesize, and you can't say everything anyway. So yeah, I made some choices, and I hope the readers will enjoy. And if they want to learn more, they can always find more everywhere on the internet. You got a lot of information about Antarctica.
Yeah, you talk about each of the different animals, mainly seals, penguins, whales, seabirds. And you have 1 or 2 pages devoted to each of those. But you also talk about that it is part of the circle of life that feeds the whole world. And it starts with the phytoplankton and the krill. Would you like to explain that?
Yeah, sure. We always talk about the big animals, of course, because they're the one we see the most and they are quite fun to watch. But at the end of the day, the most important animal in Antarctica is the krill. Krill is a shrimp-like crustaceans from the same family, but not a shrimp. And it's the cornerstone of the food web in Antarctica because not every, but most animals in Antarctica feed on krill. So seals, penguins, whales, fish, seabirds, they all feed on krill. So if you remove the krill from Antarctica, everybody dies. And this is a very small crustacean that is 2 to 3 centimeters long that you never see on pictures or videos, of course. So it's not famous, even though it's the most important one. And the krill is feeding on phytoplankton or everywhere in the oceans. But they're in great numbers in Antarctica because there's so much sea ice during winter that is forming, that all this sea ice is offering a huge shelter for phytoplankton where they can land and reproduce. And when the sun comes back in spring with the photosynthesis, the phytoplankton is just blooming. There's so much phytoplankton in the water. It's so blurred. You can't see anything in the water. because there's just phytoplankton everywhere, and this is a great food base for the krill that can then reproduce also in great number, almost 400 million of tons of krill every year in Antarctica. And then everybody's just feasting on krill all summer till winter arrives, and that krill becomes scarcer, and then whales go away, penguins go further, and seals go away too. So everybody just go do their things in winter. And it's an amazing ecosystem. And I think it's even more important nowadays, where we talk a lot about krill fishing industry that is increasing, and because we need to feed the salmon in salmon farms, and we need them to be pink so that they can be bankable all around the world. And it makes you think, right? Like, do we really need to fish some krill out of the Antarctic ecosystem when we know how important it is for all those animals? And so this book helps also understanding the role of this tiny animal. And we also learn on the book that actually it's poop. It's very good
Yes.
for. Maybe that was your next question. Sorry, but the krill poop is so important for decarbonation. It's so fascinating how such a small animal can have such a great impact of removing carbon dioxide, or at least carbon from the atmosphere, and storing it at the bottom of the ocean inside its poop. And there's so much krill that it represents a lot of carbon that is stored down there every year, every summer. And so they're a big actor of the carbon pump. And they're so tiny. Who would have guessed that they can do so much? So it's really an amazing animal that deserves more credit and more care from us.
Yeah, you said in your book there's like 400 million tons of krill that grows each year, that it is more biomass than all of the land animals combined.
Land wild animals, that's important, because there's so chicken nowadays that there's more chicken than anything else, but we are wild animals, yeah.
Okay, versus the farm animals. So more of that than the wild animals. And then you also say the caca de krill, the poop of the krill, is 20 to 30 million tons of carbon each year at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, well, this is all calculation, right? But that's an estimation. We know that they store a lot of carbon through the poop.
And you said that eliminates the pollution of 35 million cars every year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. For such a small crescent. So everybody play the share in the ocean, try to make Earth livable for everybody, right? So I guess the more we pollute, the more animals have to work out to compensate our mistakes, and even the krill is taking part on that.
Yeah. So how did you learn all of this? Tell me about your background. Did you go to school?
If we go through my background, you're gonna be disappointed. I've got an MBA in international business negotiations, which is far different from what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But I've been in Antarctica for so long now, working with great people with great knowledge and learning a lot from them. And so that's why I got my knowledge. And then writing the books, I realized that I was missing some information. So I did quite a lot of research too. But I guess you learn a lot and you like to share. And one thing I realized, that on the ship where you came yourself, we teach you a lot of things, we share a lot of information, but when you leave the ship, you have nothing with you to remind you everything you learned. And it's so overwhelming. You learn so much, you see so much, that when you get home, I don't know how much you remember from it. So I really wanted to write a book to talk to kids, but also at the same time to sell on ships, so that our guests who leave the ship can live with this book that is a sum up of all the knowledge we shared with you during your trip, right? So that you can go home, read again about it, share it with your kids, with your nephews, with your neighbors' kids, with the schools around you, wherever you want to go, wherever you want to share. But that's so that you have a support with written information that you can refer to when you want to talk about Antarctica. And I think that was really missing. And I've been contacting a lot of expedition companies that have been very positive. I sent them the book, they read it. And so next year they're gonna be 4 companies selling the book already. And the Port Lockroy station will also be selling the book. So that's for me a great success, because that was really one of my main objective, is trying to help people communicate about Antarctica when they go back home. And I think the book is a great way for it, because it's easy accessible. The drawings make it easy to digest, and it's not just a scientific book with a lot of information. It's just easy to read, easy to share.
Yeah, and it was very easy to translate with Google Translate. and my rudimentary
But we
French.
don't have the English version anyway.
Yeah. So did you say it was going to be sold at Port Lockroy
Yes, that's
at the
correct.
base? So tell me about working down there. So Port Lockroy is the mailbox in Antarctica, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I started my Antarctic adventure working there. I applied for a job there in 2017 the first time. I didn't get in. So I reapplied the next year in 2018, and this time I got in. And so that's how I started my Antarctic adventure, by working down there at Port Lockroy, which is a former scientific station, a British scientific station, that was then turned into a museum and a little souvenir shop and a post office back in the 90s. And since then, it has been run by England, who send every year 4 people to look after the station, welcome passengers traveling to Antarctica, and yeah, we have different tasks on the station. One of them is making the guests visiting the museum, telling them about the story of the base, which is very great because England succeeded, or actually the United Kingdom Antarctic Heritage Trust, that is in charge of the station, succeeded to gather a lot of the equipment that the scientists were using back in the 40s when the station was created. And so when you visit the station, you feel like traveling into a little time capsule, because you just dive into the 40s with a lot of old equipment. You got the kitchen, you got the food tins, you got the base leader equipment, all the comms, you got the beds, you got the clothing. It's really cool. It's a great museum. There's a little shop that helps maintaining station, because when they refurbished it, they tried to rebuild it the exact same way it was built in the 40s. Even sorting the same kind of woods, the tools, the nails, the screws that they were using in the 40s. But the station was never really meant to survive the harsh condition of Antarctic winters. So there's a huge maintenance work going on every year in the station, and the souvenir shops helps for that. And then the post office has been run since the beginning, I guess. And the mail is sent to Stanley in the Falkland Islands. And from Port Stanley, it is sent all the way to London. And so when you work there, your task are to be a museum tour guide, also a shop attendant. So you have to be at the tiller and to just use the cash machine to sell stuff to people. You have to deal with the postcards and the cancellation of the stamps on the postcards. We sent on my year 92,000 postcards, so that's a lot of cancellation work.
How many postcards?
92,000.
92,000.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
a big work hazard for your wrist when you have to cancel all the stamps.
Yeah.
And the last task at the station is to count penguins, and that was my duty. And counting penguins is a survey that has been going on since the creation of the newly station that welcome visitors. And it's done under the help of British Antarctic Survey, BAS, who gives you a protocol to follow to make sure that every single year the counting is done the exact same way, and that even though it's not 100% accurate, as it's done following the same protocol every year, it gives you a good idea of how healthy is the colony and how it is acting. And so, yeah, that was super cool. I spent a lot of time with the penguins, counting the nest first, because the nest, it's a breeding pair, then counting the eggs, counting the chicks that are on the nest under the parents, and then counting the chicks becoming adults. And yeah, that was great. So it got me to spend a lot of time with the penguins, a lot of time monitoring them, monitoring what is happening in a penguin's colony, and I really loved it. And so what happened is that we received a lot of ships to visit the station twice a day, more or less, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, almost every day. And then I got along very well with one of the company that came about 7 times in the season. And I really like them. I really like them, the atmosphere. I really like the team. And one day the staff manager came and I met with him. And we chat for 3 hours. I didn't help at all my colleagues for the visit. I was just chatting with the staff manager of that company. And I got hired as a bird guy, as a penguin, albatross, and petrel guy. And I told him, I really like the penguin at the station, but I really know nothing about all those birds you want me to talk about. And he told me, okay, but I trust you. And that's the best he could say to me, because then I was like, okay, I don't want to deceive this guy who gave me my chance. So I studied hard for a year, and then I prepared lectures about penguins, about seabirds, and yeah, there I was next season coming back to Antarctica as a bird guy, as a polar ornithologist. And I must say that the first lecture I gave on board, I was really shaking because my background is absolutely not ornithology or biology; it's business, and but there's nothing you can't learn, right? So I first lecture, then I went out of the lecture theater. I went outside and I threw up. But that was it. I was hooked for life. And now it's been 7 years, so now I'm a bit more legitimate doing that job because I've learned a lot through years and keep learning all the time because there's so much we don't know. There's so much we learn every year. There's a lot of scientific papers that are published every year. Yeah, it's a constant work in progress, which makes it fascinating.
Yeah, I love those lectures. I mean, my background is genetics and cell biology, so I love the biology of that. And I was just absorbing everything that people tell me. And when we were at Port Lockroy, the mailbox was closed when we were there. We got there late in the season. And
Yes.
so all my souvenirs came from the ship. Was that Albatross Expeditions that hired you?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So how it worked on our trip, we went through Marathon Tours, which is basically a tour agency that hires Albatross Expedition, which then hires the ship to take us all there.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's how it works. And I've been a guide for Albatross since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I'm today. I'm going to Svalbard with them now. We changed name because of a lot of things happening, but still the same team at the end of the day. And it's been a very nice journey working with them, and it's very good company.
What is the new name?
It's called Polar Latitude Expeditions.
Polar Latitudes Expeditions. Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you were going to start guiding some of your own trips now. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's a new adventure. So you said that was my most exciting adventure ever. I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely a very exciting adventure. I've been traveling a lot in my life, like a lot. And I made great contacts in many countries. And through the years, I've been organizing honeymoons for friends and friends of friends. I've been organizing holidays and trips for friends also. And I really like organizing trips, but I think I needed some time to mature my project and also find the right partner. And I met up with Phil Hunter, who had created Arctic 10 expeditions a few years ago. It didn't go so well with his partner, with whom he created the company, and so he was now alone. And I offered him to join the adventure by designing trips because Phil was dedicated to Svalbard. And his guest going with him and having amazing trip with him didn't have an opportunity to come back with the company doing something else. And as I wanted to create my own trips, we both saw there a great opportunity for both of us to be very happy. And so now I co-own Arctic 10 expeditions, and I design new trips for new destinations. And the goal is not only to organize an expedition, but to explore animal conservation world. So basically what I do is that I select an animal that I really like. I find in a destination that I know where I have good contacts, and I organize a trip around this animal and the scientists that help conserving this animal. So, for example, I have a very good friend in Congo, and in Congo, you got a lot of work being done with chimpanzees and gorillas. And so we go visiting the Chipunga National Park, that is a Jane Goodall Foundation park. So we go there and we meet up with the people who work there, and then we understand what is at stake with the chimpanzees, reinsertion in the wild, conservation in the wild. And so it's very fascinating because you get to learn a lot. You don't only go on a safari to watch animals, you really get to understand what is it to be a chimpanzee nowadays in Congo, and how you can be protected, what are the scientists doing, what are the challenges. It is really cool. And then we go further north in the equatorial forest and we meet up with another project that is around lowland gorillas this time. And same, we meet up with the scientists who work with them on the conservation, and you get to understand a lot. And it's really great. For me, I love animals, and I think watching animals in a safari is great, and you always learn about. But I really wanted to organize trips that offer a little bit more, and this little bit more is actually meeting the people who work at protecting those animals and understanding their work, and then going to see those animals in the wild with all the knowledge you've acquired. That's really cool. Another destination is Nepal. We go to Nepal and we do a bit of trekking, of course, but the other half of the trip is meeting tigers and rhinos.
Is it the white tigers?
No, Bengal tigers.
Bengal tigers. Yep.
and understanding also the incredible work that has been done in Nepal to protect Bengal tigers, understanding what they had to do, why they had to do it, but what at stake nowadays, because they tripled their population in 15 years. But in 2025, there were 65 casualties because of wild animals attacks next to the biggest national park, because there's more tigers and more rhinos and more elephants, but then the population is living in the forest at the same time, so there's more encounters and more casualties. So there's protecting animals is a complicating matter. It's not only putting a fence and giving them food, it's like protecting them from people, but at the same time protecting people from them. So it is fascinating. It's really fascinating. And so yeah, there's more destination that I'm going to work on in the coming years. So for 2027, there will be a trip to Ecuador and another one to France to add to the Nepal and Congo, and Svalbard, and then more destination for the future. And so the trip is of course based on animal conservation, but at the same time cultural immersion, because I have those great contacts, and it allows us to offer a trip where you're gonna meet people, you're gonna explore the culture of the country, and you're gonna come back not only with pictures but with actual encounter with local people. You're gonna share with them. You're gonna share meals. I'm French, so for me it's all about the meals. So we cook with people, we share a meal together, and there's a lot happening when you eat with someone next to you. And then that's what we do with Arctic Ten, and it's been a great adventure. It's only the beginning, so we are still, of course, building up and trying to acquire more people and getting more people interested in what we do. But we are patient, and I have a great hope.
Yeah, those are exactly the kind of trips I like to take. So say again the name of your company.
Arctic Tern Expedition.
Arctic what?
Tern. That's about the Arctic Tern. Arctic Tern Expeditions. The Arctic tern is a seabird that breeds in the Arctic but spends its winter in Antarctica. So it's crossing the planet twice a year, going down and going up. In its lifetime, it will cover the distance between Earth and the Moon about 2.5 times. It's a great bird.
The tern is spelled in English Tern. And I always find that funny because it turns around, which is Turn.
That's right. The turn around. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So the Arctic Tern Expeditions turns around.
Yeah. Do you have a website yet?
Oh yeah. We have a website. So far, you find the Svalbard trip, the Nepal trip, and the Congolese trip. We also work with Renato, that is a good friend of us, who organized an amazing trip in Uganda. So you can also find this trip on the website. And then Ecuador and France are still under development, so they will go in 2027 with guests who are happy to undertake a trip that is going for the first time. And if it's a success, it will go live.
Yeah, you've met so many people, hundreds, thousands of people on all your trips.
That's right, yes.
Tell me about the help that you've received. I mean, how that you've been able to reach out to these people. Have people been willing to do things for you?
What exactly do you mean? People in the country where I'm going, or?
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is trying to relate. Like you're planning these trips, and everybody can kind of relate to the animals. And are they reaching out to you? Is there some place where you needed help, where someone came along and you were able to move forward?
Yeah.
Or I guess maybe I should phrase the question like, how much help have you received from other people?
So to organize those trips, right?
Yeah, just to get started, and you're making your dream come true there, and you can't do it alone.
I guess meeting up with Phil was already a big thing. I really believe in life that is helping you following your goals. And when I first started working for Albatros, so my first year in Antarctica after working at Port Lockroy, I received an email telling me you will take the plane, you will sleep in Ushuaia in a hotel, you will share your room with a guy, and then you will embark on the next day. And I ended up sharing for 2 nights a hotel room with Phil. So it was my really first contact in the guiding world. And we spent 2 days together, and we talked a lot on those 2 days. And now we're business partners.
Wow.
I guess that wasn't a coincidence that I was sharing actually with him on that first day going to Antarctica, because that was for me the beginning of a great journey that led me to write this book, that led me to launch a new company I'm actually joining a company, but launching new trips. And yeah, so meeting up with Phil was a great help. And then, as like I was saying, I've been traveling a lot before going to Antarctica, and I met a lot of contacts. And I've always relied on local people to help me and on my local friends to help me. So what it takes for me is to try to communicate with them and tell them what I want to achieve with this trip, what is my goal. And then it's a lot of communication, a lot of calls, a lot of phone calls, and they help me achieving that by connecting me with the right people, by helping me with logistic, and then I go there, I go with them, and I see what they organized after talking to me. I meet the people they want me to meet. We go to places they think they're going to be great for visiting, and we adjust. We visit hotels, we visit places. We share a lot of we shake a lot of hands. We talk with a lot of people. So yeah, I always rely on local friends that I met through my life, and that I've still been in touch with. That know the country much more than I do. Uh, that understand what I want there. And they're always soul brothers, always soul connections, because really what we do in this trip is connecting people and people to nature. And so it takes a certain kind of people to achieve that.
So you're connecting people to people and people to nature.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because it's easy to just go in a place and have a great time, take pictures, and then go back home, right? And you have adventure. It's great. You see a lot of things. You learn a lot of things, and that's what I'm offering. But I'm trying as much as possible to create a deeper connection. It works or it doesn't work, right? You can't force people into that. But for example, in Congo, when we went there, what I wanted to do, we went to a fisherman village where we spent some time there. We arrived very early when the fishermen are coming back from their night out fishing. So we participate in the morning market where all the merchants from the main cities are coming to buy the fish to go back to sell in the main cities. So we come early, we see all that, we buy some fish for the whole community and for us. And then the women start preparing the fish with our guests who want to participate into that. And then what I wanted to do in this village is really for the villages to come and feel free to get our guests to do stuff, right? And I didn't know, when we did it the first time, I didn't know how the magic will take. And I was there talking to one of the fishermen, and then I turned around and I see one of my guests going away with two fishermen on a pirogue to throw nets in the water to try to fish, right? But I had nothing to do with that. They did it on their own. But then, because we could create a safe space where it was safe to do so, right?
Yeah.
Because before that, we had told the villages that we really wanted them to connect with our guests and get to know them, and for guests to know them, and create some exchanges. So we had some translators here to help with that. And we told them that they're not here to just give you money. They're here to see your life, live your life, and experiment and share with you what they do. And everybody got along with that. And that was great. And they took them fishing, and it was fun, and he was so happy he did. And that wasn't planned. And we have another guy who offered two of the ladies to just go in the mountains, hike, to have a beautiful view on the river. And so they went, and they were happy with that. So see, that's what happened here. And that was great. And then we had a big meal all together with everybody in the village, and everybody's happy. We're singing, and it was great. It was just nice. And I think the connection was deep.
You said that you're driven by a force that pushes you forward and towards others, that keeps you traveling and keeps you connected to the world.
Yeah, it's a big statement, but it's always something we talk about with my friends when we talk about life, is that they can see how much I love talking to others and how much I love connecting with others. It's not everybody that does that. But for me, when I'm somewhere, I just want to talk to everybody. In the streets, I'm always talking to everybody. I like to meet people. I like to know their life. I like to understand what they do, why they do it, and it's just great. There's so much you learn from others, and I don't know. I just like to connect with people, right, all over the world, in France or anywhere. And yeah, I'm really driven by a thought that I can't really explain. Sometimes I just watch my friends and like, why am I like that? Why am I different? What I like so much talking to people? What am I looking for something? Am I searching something? I have no idea. I haven't solved this problem yet. I just like to do it, right? So when I'm on the ship, I like to have dinner with guests. I have to have lunch with guests. I like to talk to them. I I just like it. It comes naturally for me. So it's easy to do that job of guiding because I just like it. Sometimes I get super tired. And the first one that is suffering from that is my wife because then I just don't want to talk to her because I've been talking with guests all day and yeah, so I have to work on that a bit and control my energy and don't just find a balance between personal life and life with others.
Where is your wife working? Or is she working?
She's working with me with Albatross. She's been working with me for the last 3 seasons, and for this season we are working in the Arctic together this summer.
Oh, that's very nice. Where did you guys meet?
I guess she was on board when you came on board.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure she was. Yeah,
oh, I didn't know that. What's her name?
that's Karin.
Oh, okay.
She was probably doing some yoga and stretching, and she was probably helping me with the karaoke night.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you having fun karaoke night, and there was one woman up there with you. So
That was my wife.
I didn't realize that. Oh, that's sweet. Very
Yeah, it's really
sweet.
great. Very nice. We actually got married in Port Lockroy in Antarctica.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you have the penguin sign your marriage certificate as a witness?
And of course we didn't, but as we kissed in front of the main building, and as our friend was taking a picture of us, a penguin just passed in front. So we got a picture of us kissing with a penguin in front of us, just as if it was our groom. That's really cute.
Oh, yeah, he's already wearing the tuxedo.
Yeah, exactly.
So cute. So does she have the travel bug as much as you do?
You would have to ask her that, but I guess yes. She had been working in Paris for 9 years, and she was really tired with the city and really wanted to travel more. And
Mm-hmm.
we met when she sent these wishes to the universe,
Yeah.
and we met, and I told her, yeah, come to work with me in Antarctica, and then we were. So we've been traveling quite a lot since then together.
Oh, that's great. You can do that as a family.
Yeah, we are actually working on growing the family so far with no luck. And we are asking ourselves how we're going to do to keep traveling and connecting to people with kids. So I guess
Yeah.
we'll find a way. But there's one thing sure that our kids won't have a settled life.
Yes. They will be a very globally aware of the whole world. And you can see how that's connected. And I think this curiosity comes from wanting to understand the world and what other resources are out there and how can other people help you. You know, it's the village mentality that if everybody helps build a barn, you can get it done faster and better than if you do it yourself.
That's for sure. That's really for sure. The number make it easier, right? Everything is awesome when you're part of a team. And I would say also you can see that today a lot of people were afraid of the other, right? They're afraid of your skin color, of your religion, of your country, of your nationality. There's so
Yes.
much hate in this world. When
Hmm.
everywhere you go, every single country you go, you meet people that are amazing, willing to connect, willing to help, willing to know you, willing to just be your friend, and without expecting anything from you. The world is just made of amazing people everywhere. And when you're afraid of the other, you're most certainly afraid of yourself first and foremost. But yeah, people it's just so hard not to love everybody on the planet because everybody is easy to love. Of course, there are people who are having a hard time and make some decision that you find hard to digest and understand. But yeah, the world is made of amazing people, and it's great to travel because it helps you connecting with those people in a different way than watching from your TV or your phone, right? And when you physically connect to people and get to know them, get to understand the way they live, their culture, their history, you understand so much more on the world, and it really helps with anxiety and fear.
Speaking of that, you said you just went to a 4-day mindfulness seminar.
Yeah, that's true.
How have you changed? Did you achieve some deeper introspection?
Haha. I guess I went there after running a lot from school to schools and not counting too much my time and efforts. I was very tired. And yeah, in France, I guess in the US it's the same. I don't know how much it's the same, but in France there's a lot of festivals that you can attend, especially from May to September. Mindfulness that helps you to work on yourself and and you have a lot of topics and little workshop that you are offered to join morning and afternoon that helps you working on specific things, and you dance and you sing, which is great in those places that you meet people who come for the same reason, right? So you meet people who are really open-minded and caring and loving and very positive. So those 4 days are usually very good for self-empowerment, right? You feel so much better after that. You feel strong. You feel confident in your life and in yourself. I guess what I needed for me was a little time off to slow down and look on the year that I just spent and look on the year to come. Look on the potential paternity that we wish for with Karin, and how we can reduce the rhythm, slow down to welcome a kid into that by still doing the things we love, right? Because you can't end yourself. So the key is finding the balance between traveling, working, writing books, promoting books, and raising kids at the same time. And so, yeah, those 4 days were very helpful for that. Good introspection on what really matters, and maybe, yeah, give up on some things for a few years. Maybe go back to them later if it's possible, but just reducing and finding what's your priority, right? And I think for us, having a kid is a priority for now. So we probably will have to adjust and make some changes in our life to have maybe more space for that.
Yeah, people seem to reach a point in their lives where they have to make a change or to just recenter themselves. For you, a sea change is a good analogy.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure that you're following the vision that you were originally excited about. And you mentioned, the people, meeting so many different people all over the world. And that was really what sparked the podcast for me too. I haven't traveled nearly as much as you have. I would like to go to all those places, but on all the trips that I've been on, it's always been my goal to meet people from around the world and have friends and be able to visit or talk to them. And well, I thought, all these people have these amazing stories that should make a good Netflix series. And they said, well, why don't you start a podcast? I'm like, that's a good idea. Then it's a way to kind of reconnect with the people I've met and really hear a lot deeper part of their story, because so many times you meet somebody for a day or two or three and there's a lot more there. And this person is really valuable or has some good lessons to share.
Yeah. It's a great idea, and I listened to some of your podcasts that you made, and you met great people, and I think a podcast is a great idea to go deeper in the relationship and and share with others the people you met. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, you had also mentioned that you're part of the Ocean Youth Academy.
I don't remember mentioning that.
Oh, okay. So the book talks about the Ocean Youth Academy?
Yeah.
Were they the ones who sponsored the book?
So Ocean Youth Academy has been created by Phil's wife, Amanda Hunter, and Phil and all the friends. So they're all very good friends. I really wanted to join them, and I was part of the team for short, but I was so busy doing other things that I've never really been able to help them so much. But their program is really what I've been willing to do since day one, which is educating the next generation, and not only educating people who can afford the education, but trying to educate as many kids as you can all around the planet, right? So Amanda, Phil, and Gabby have been putting online amazing lessons about the oceans and the ecosystem of our planet for kids, and they are trying to broadcast it widely, and they are doing a great job with that. And for me, the book is following the same wish, right? Because it's been sold in Europe. Now it's going to be sold in the US, in Canada, in Australia. South Korea has bought the rights, to translate and sell the book in South Korea. Poland also has bought the right. I hope China will buy the right, and so it will grow and be being broadcasted all around the world. And the goal is exactly the same as Ocean Youth Academy, is just educating the next generation about the ecosystems of our planet. And so for me, it was 100% natural to just promote the website and the work on my book. And so I dedicated a full page to Ocean Youth Academy to explain what they do and to put a link to their website to hopefully promote what they work. And it's also good because if you read the book and you want to learn more, then Ocean Youth Academy is here for you, right? It's a direct extension of the book. So yeah, that's why it's on the book. But I
So that's
wouldn't say that I'm 100% part of the project. That wouldn't be right.
so that's the website is oceanyouthacademy.org.
That's right. Yeah.
It was briefly looking at that too. So that was another connection with Phil. You said his wife started that?
Yeah, Amanda and Phil.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, we've been together for a long time now, working together and sharing our dreams. And Amanda was really dedicated to communicate with the younger generation, and we spent night talking about how we could do that. And during COVID, she just went on and created this all online academy. And she's really amazing, and what she's doing is really amazing. So I really wanted to play a little role in promoting the work. And I encourage everybody listening to this podcast to go on the website. You will learn a lot, and it's good for the kids. It's made for the kids, and it's great. It's great work.
So you're focusing a lot on the kids in this. When you were growing up, did you have an awareness of the environmental issues that were happening?
That's a good question. I grew up loving animals. Like you would see my children bedroom. My bookshelf was full of books books about animals. So I've been really into ecosystems and food webs and animals around the world, for forever, I would say. And I guess when you read books about animals, you always read about these animals disappearing and global warming and threat. So yeah, I guess I've been aware of that, forever, I would say. I really, my dream job was to become a vet working in savannah. I wanted to be the guy that put a lion asleep to heal his teeth.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up with this dream. And then when it became time to choose my studies, I became a bit more realistic because I wasn't so good at school. And this field of work requires a lot of studies, of very hard studies. And
Yeah.
then there's not so many positions available for this job. So it would have been a lot of time studying to end up working with cats and dogs from my neighbors, which are great animals, but that was really not what I wanted to do. And so I just went into business because it was easier. But somehow life put me back on track because now I'm working with animals all the time, and I'm getting to write books about animals and to lead people in places where they can get to know amazing animals. So life is funny sometimes. It gets its way.
Yeah, that's what I find with a general business academy or some of the other business degrees, that you can focus on the business, but then find the aspect of life or your hobbies that you're interested in. You can always apply that business knowledge to the area that you're interested in. My degree was in science, genetics, and cell biology. And then later I went back and got an MBA, and that was very helpful in running my business. And people ask me if the MBA was worth it. And I say, absolutely it was. And if they're not really sure what direction they want to go, and I say, well, aim for some kind of business degree and then explore all the other areas that you're interested in by taking a couple intro classes, because then you can always apply that business degree to the other industry that you're interested in. It sounds like that's what you're doing too.
Yeah, I guess so. But congratulations on going there and following that path, because it's not always easy to go back to your studies when you're still working, when you're already working. But there's so much you can learn all the time, and when you're curious about life, there's so many classes you can take, and just to expand your knowledge, and maybe it will open some doors to other things. And we should always be curious. Kids, when I'm in school with kids, they ask so many questions that are not always relevant to the topic, but they are so curious, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mind is just flourishing and just going in so many directions, and it's great. And we lose that when we grow up because we have a burden of the life to carry. Like we have some mortgage to pay, we got a job to do with kids, and then we just follow a path that becomes narrower and narrower. But if you
Yes.
expand that path and get curious and learn more and get more classes. Just like broaden your mind and your possibilities, and then you don't suffer from your life anymore. You just enjoy it so much, and you can change life all the time. You don't have to be always following the same path. But yeah, some people struggle more than others for sure, and I'm really sorry for them. But very often I hear people telling me, "Oh, you're so lucky to do what you do, and I wish I could do that." But then when you ask them why they don't do that, they say they just find excuses for themselves, right?
Yes.
You just build your own barrier, you build your own burden. But when you go deeper and you fight your fears, then you realize that you make that to yourself, and that if you take down those barriers, there's so much you can do. There's so much you can do in the world.
Yeah, I find people, they tell themselves they can't do anything, or it's kind of a lie, oh, I could never do that. I can't do that. Well, really, maybe it just means
Just try it.
yeah, that you don't want to. Or if you really think about it, like you said, write down your dreams and your visions and see, well, okay, if I want to make this change, can I make some small steps? What would I actually do? Like, yeah, I know my area of study, I always was interested in the embryogenesis, the development of life. How does life form from the very spark of an egg? And I actually ended up studying cell death. Why cells die.
Yeah, that's so different. But your first question is so interesting at the same time. How does it create and then how does it die? It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, because when you learn how cells die, then you can try and reverse that process and keep them alive. And on the other hand, with cancer research, you want those tumor cells to die, for the cancer cells to die, but not the healthy cells to die.
Yeah, exactly. Before the healthy cells.
Yeah. But I think people should do what you said and always be curious. Always be wondering what's down the next road. What's the other animals doing?
Yeah, exactly. Like in the mindfulness festival that we did, there was one of the workshop that was interesting and that can be helpful for anyone. The first question that the lady was asking to us was, "What's your dream? What dream you'd like to achieve?" So you have time. We walk. So you walk towards each other, not specific direction. You just walk. There's like 100 people walking around, and you think for yourself, right? When you walk, you just oxygenate your brain, so answers comes easier than when you are sitting on your sofa. And then the next question she asked is, and then we dance a little bit to just ease the mind. Then the next question is, why haven't you achieved your dream yet?
Oh.
What's stopping you from achieving it? So then just keep walking, keep thinking about it. Okay, why haven't done that? Because it's because that, because it's because that. And the next question is, what can you do now to take those breaks down so that you can achieve your dream? And it's exactly what you said. What's your first step? What's the second step? What can you actually do to go over those barriers? And it's just great, right? Don't take negative things for action. Just try to go over it and find solutions. Yeah, I guess it takes a positive mind.
That's exactly how I feel about this podcast. And I still feel like I'm not ready, but I'm doing it anyway. To the best that I can.
No, I think it's great. My grandmother passed away last year. She was 105. And every time we would ask her, what's the key? What's her secret? She would always answer the same. She would always say, stay positive. And, stay positive. I guess she had some good genes too. That helps.
Yes.
And quite a healthy life. But I like the idea of staying positive, and positive brings light into your life and light into your body, and light into your body just helps. In Chinese medicine, they try to teach you how to do the inner smile. The inner smile is you smiling to your body, smiling to your organs, smiling to your cells, smiling to your muscles, smiling to your bones. So you smile to yourself with focusing on the area that you smile to, and by doing that, you just bring energy to your body. Like you how would you say that in English? You take conscious of this part of your body, and you bring light and you bring love to this part of your body. But it's a small exercise that I invite you to do every day, the inner smile. By doing it every day, you bring love to your organs every day. And in Chinese medicine, they believe that that's the main thing you need to do to avoid disease. It sounds maybe crazy, but Chinese medicine is focusing a lot on preventing disease rather than curing disease. When in the Western world, we're more into curing and finding a way to cure, but we don't work so much on preventing. And
Hmm.
I like that duality, and it's so good. And I'm smiling to my organs in the morning, and I feel great.
I love that. Smile to your organs.
Yeah, the inner smile, you can find that. It's really powerful, really, really powerful.
Yeah, I like the message of positivity as well. Scott Keenan was one of my guests a couple weeks ago. That was his tip was make a day of positivity.
Yeah, I love that.
Always staying positive.
And you know, when you travel a lot, like when I started traveling, I was 24, so I was just a backpacker with no money, and but I had a big trust in life, and I was very positive. And I guess, in magnetism, positive attracts positive and positivism, and I really always believed in that. And I guess, yeah, I've been traveling a lot. I didn't have really big issues, and I attracted a lot of amazing people who helped me on the way to go further. And I really trust that being positive only attract positive. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that too. Like attracts like. Well, I suppose we should probably start wrapping this up. I really appreciate you being on the show today. I do have two final questions. Yeah. So you mentioned your crazy athletic challenges, like you hiked the Kepler Trail
Yeah.
in the Kepler track, and you climbed Mount Blanc in your knickers.
Yeah.
So, what do you like to do for your sporty hobbies?
Yeah, I guess I told you that because that's something I don't think I'm gonna do that too much anymore. But I like to do crazy challenges. Maybe there's people who do much crazier challenges, but crazy for me at least.
Yeah.
And it got me to do stuff when I was much younger, of course. And sometimes I wonder why I was pushing myself so hard. So
Hmm.
yeah, I walked the Kepler track in one day. I also walked the Queen's Charlotte track in one day in North New Zealand. I climbed Mont Blanc with a friend. We just went there. We took our bag, and then we did a bit of a hike before, and then we just climbed Mont Blanc, which is still 4,800 meters mountains, and you walk on glaciers. And then in 2021, was it? Yeah, 2021, I crossed the Pyrenees Mountains from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea, which
Hmm.
are 700 kilometers of high mountains. And it's 40,000 meters elevation total.
Um,
Uh, so you do a lot of up and downs. And I wanted to do that under 20 days. And I did that in 16 days, which is about 40 kilometers per day with
wow.
my backpack, my tent, my food, everything. And of course, people go faster, but for me, that was a big challenge. And when I go back with my friends, ask me, why did you do that? It's not like I promote that. I don't have a website. I don't have an Instagram or a Facebook page where I talk about that. I just do that for myself. And then, of
Yeah.
course, I talk about it to my friends. But yeah, I was really driven by trying to go forward and push myself forward and I guess see my limits. And
Hmm.
and yeah, same in Antarctica. And when we met each other, I ran these half marathons, and then I ran the marathons the next week. You went there, but
Oh,
marathon
okay.
tour, marathon tours came for a second trip on the next week. And on the next week, I was like, okay, now that I won the half marathon, I'm gonna run the marathon. But I never run a marathon before. It's quite a big exercise, like 42 kilometers, and it's hard
Yeah.
condition, and it's high sea and slippery. And I just went there and I just ran it. And yeah, it's I guess it's the same is trust yourself, trust life, go further, and then yeah, and it's hard. You have to be patient, in a strong mind, because God, it's painful. And then that on the next day you're not going to be able to get up from your bed and stay for 2 or 3 days with super sore legs, and you're going to wonder why you did that and why you did that to yourself, and that
Yeah.
you're so stupid. But nonetheless, you'll do it again on the next month or the next year with another challenge. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah. I think part of that is, like you said, finding your limits. How strong are you? The harder a goal is or a challenge, and then when you complete that, the more of a reward you feel. It gives you confidence. Oh, if I could do this thing, well, then maybe I could do something else. Maybe I'm capable of doing something. It's whether it's a physical challenge or like your business challenge, or even just going for a walk every day. The simplest thing is something that gets you out there, it gets you moving. And I think, like you said, the breathing, the moving oxygenates your brain better and keeps you feeling better.
Yeah, that's really good. That's 100% right. And I guess what you say is right. Is also about building trust in yourself and in your capabilities.
Yes, Trust your body.
Big part of that. Yeah, the body, but also your ability to do stuff, right? And to go till the end of the project. Because there's trusting your body, but there's also trusting, I guess, the fact that you are able to find a challenge, go through it, suffer it, but go through it until the end. And there's great lesson that you learn from that helps going through all the problems in life. As for the daily routine and the daily walk, I'm so bad with that. I'm so bad. I got a routine, but a 1 hour routine that is a mix of qigong and yoga. And I know I need it because I got a long back and I got a scoliosis, and so my back is in pain if I don't work on it every day. But I'm so bad. So months are passing without me doing anything, and then I wake up one morning and like, that's it. I'm gonna do it every day. So I do it every day for a month, and I feel so much better. I'm like, why I didn't do that before? Because I feel so much better now. But then I feel good, and then I get lazy, and then I don't do it again for a couple of months, and then my back is hurting. Like right now, I'm in a period of 2 or 3 months without doing any exercise. Oh my God, I'm so much in pain in my back. So I know starting tomorrow, I'm going to start doing it again. And I'm going to blame myself for not doing it for the last months. I'm bad with daily routine. It's hard for me to be strong enough to do it every day. I guess that's my next challenge, being strong enough to do it every day.
Well, I'm sorry your back is bothering you. Yeah, that's to live with chronic pain is a tough thing. But it sounds like you have a relatively simple way of managing it. You know, like you said, if you start stretching and building up your strength again, it's more manageable.
Yeah, I can only blame myself. So it's just being lazy, and then having a bad back.
Well, maybe you're being hopeful. You do it, your back feels better, and then you think, great, I'm cured. And so then you go back to your normal life without thinking about it. And then all of a sudden it rears its ugly head again and starts hurting, and you go, oh, no, I have to keep taking care of it again.
Yeah, exactly. But I know it's not the right way. You just have to do it every morning, and then your life is amazing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I still struggle too with trying to do a specific workouts every day. I'm pretty active. I try to do something every day, whether it's walking or gardening or swimming or something. But then every couple of weeks I get in a good workout with a marathon. So that's good. That's what keeps me motivated, is having the next marathon on the calendar. Maybe that's what you could do, is put on the calendar, oh, you did your stretches now. Therefore, in a month, you may expect that your back is hurting again. So then instead, write on your calendar for 3 weeks from now to start doing more stretching.
Yeah, it's actually a great idea. I'm going to try that. You know what, Sally? I'm going to try that.
Okay. So it's okay to skip a couple days, but then put it on your calendar to start again.
Yeah, you start today, and then you see this day coming, and like, oh yeah, I need to start again. And then on that day, like, okay, now I do it again. Yeah, it's a great idea. I'm going to write that on my calendar now.
Yeah. Oh, good. Glad I could help.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, man, I have loved talking to you. So you're a professional traveler out there. Is there any special destination on your bucket list yet?
Where I haven't been, or where I want to take people?
Where you have not been.
Yeah, I have never been to the Middle East. I'd love to go to those places. There's a Chinese expedition guide that I met through the years that is touring at the moment. For the last 2 years, he's been touring the whole Middle East with his motorbike, and he's posting amazing pictures of Syria, of Iraq, of all these areas. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of little gems of the past that you can see, visit, of very, very old civilization that have been forgotten. And yeah, it looks fascinating. I love to go there. So I guess right now is not the perfect time, but I'd love to go there someday. I think that's my bucket list. And I've never been to Brazil, and I really want to go to Brazil. So that's on my bucket list.
Yeah, so you've been to Argentina a lot with Ushuaia, but not Brazil, north of Argentina.
Yeah, and I've been to Uruguay and like most of the country around Brazil, but never to Brazil.
Yeah, we went to the Amazon like 2 years ago, and that was amazing.
Where did you go from?
Manaus.
Okay.
So that's the headwaters of the big river there, the Amazon River. So we went to the headwaters of the Amazon, but in that year, the Amazon was at its record low.
Oh,
So
wow.
the ship we were on couldn't actually sail up the Amazon. So we had to fly there. And then they had dropped us off at some other towns to see Belém and Fortaleza. And I had never heard of these places. They're like Miami on the beach. There's millions of people living in these towns in
Uh-huh.
Brazil, South America, that I didn't know anything about. So it was really fascinating to learn more about that culture. And then as you traveled up the Amazon, of course, there was more native cultures that they had preserved that you could hear more about the native ways. So it was a nice mix of modern and ancient tours.
Super nice. Yeah, yeah. The Amazon is amazing. The tour I'm designing to Ecuador is actually a 9 days trip into the Amazonian forest in Ecuador, and
Mm-hmm.
you pass the border of Peru, so you go deep into the Amazonian forest,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a 9 days into animals and culture into the forest. But it's only small villages. Some of them are a bit modern style, and few of them are really different way of life from us. And it's yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
Amazon forest is quite amazing. When you lose yourself in the Amazon forest, it's
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. You see how simple life is. You don't need a
Oh, yeah.
lot.
Yeah, you just need to learn how to hunt spiders and snakes.
I did eat the ants. They have fried ants they eat, and they were pretty good. I ate the bugs. Give it a try. It's just like chips and salsa.
Exactly. Good for you. That's the future.
Yeah.
So they say.
Yeah. I really appreciate you being on the show, and I'm so glad we connected in Antarctica, kept in touch on Facebook. And this congratulations on finishing your children's book, your graphic novel.
Thanks.
If you come to Minnesota to promote it, come to the US, let me know.
You know what? I might, because the editor I'm working with has a big antenna in the US, and that'd be great to do something to promote the book in the US. But there's nothing planned yet. But I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, in Minneapolis here we have a group called the Alliance Française, which is where I took my French for Travelers class. And they also have a little school and they teach French for children. It would be really neat if you could read your book to them.
Wow, that'd be amazing. That's for sure.
Yeah, and there's some international schools. Man, it's been so great hearing your story, how you've traveled everywhere, how you're helping the world. I mean, you're truly a change maker, giving these people new experiences and exposing them to cultures that you wouldn't otherwise see. And we know you're resilient, you face these challenges, and you don't give up. I'll give a plug for my podcast, since this is a podcast with a purpose. If you liked Guy's story today, please donate. It's our podcast with a purpose to raise money for medical research. And we all know people like you who want to go exploring, but may not be able to because they're limited in some way due to an illness or an injury. So, which is why I am raising money for medical research to help find treatments. So if your life is better because you learned from Guy's story today, please donate now. You can do it online at unstoppablestoriesthatmove.com or mail me a check to P.O. Box 12 in Afton, Minnesota, 55001. But before we finish, I got two final questions for you. So Guy, what do you think? What is your bigger purpose?
Oof, that's a big question to finish with. You know what? I'm not sure. I think I really care for people and for nature, and I wish I can make a difference somehow someday. And I would love to help people feeling better and connect to themselves to find the strength into themselves to feel better. I feel that today we're always trying to find answers somewhere around us when most of the answers are inside us. And I guess at some point I'd like to dig into that and find ways to help people with that. And yeah, and try to put people towards together, right? Like we were saying earlier, stop with the fear and embrace the difference as a strength and not a weakness.
Embrace the difference as a strength instead of a weakness. I love that. Yeah, and I completely believe that as well. I think it's very true. With the genetic diversity we have on the planet, we see it every day. It seems so obvious. Why fight that? It's
Because we're afraid. We're afraid we're going to lose something. We're afraid we're going to lose a battle. We're afraid we're going to miss out. But there's nothing to be afraid of. Life is a cycle that we can't control, and it's yeah, things are always moving, and everything is impermanent. That's what the Buddhists are saying. Everything is impermanent, so there's nothing to be afraid of. It's already written anyway.
yeah. And my final question to you is, what makes you unstoppable?
Yeah, I guess being positive helps, and having faith in life helps also. Having faith that there's always a way, right? That there's more solutions than problems. And when you have this kind of state of mind, then you're unstoppable, right? There's no problem, there's nothing you can't fight or can't win, all right? Even when we have a big disease, a big handicap, I've seen people and I've read stories about people overcoming huge traumas.
Yeah.
There's always a way. It's some people give up, and I understand why, but there's always a way to fight and to overcome a challenge, whatever it is. And sometimes you don't, and it's sad, and it's the way it is. But there's nothing wrong trying. And yeah, I guess I'm unstoppable because I believe that there's more solutions than problems.
And you're willing to try.
And yeah, for sure, I'm willing to try. And yeah, and I wish for everybody to be able to feel the same. You know, like we talk about traveling, and of course, some people they are not able to travel. But I've seen people with huge disabilities traveling on wheelchairs with no legs, with no arms. It takes, you know, like you got blind people we can't hear, we can't see. I've seen people traveling on their own, and when you see them, it's like, how are you even traveling on your own? Like, how are you doing it? But they're
Yeah.
just driven by something stronger, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, I'm not blaming anyone who's not trying, because we all have our life, we all have our story, and we are where we are because of that. And I'm not judging anyone. But when I see someone that is pushing forward and trying to go over that, you know, when you see the Paralympics,
Yeah.
you know, it's so, you're like, how can I struggle in my life when people who have no limbs are playing sports, right, every
Yeah.
day? Like, my challenges are not so big next to that, and there's nothing stopping me from doing stuff. So yeah, I think there are a lot of people in this planet that are great inspiration to help us staying positive and going forward, because they are trying and they're doing amazing stuff, when for sure they didn't have the same cards as others to start with in the life. So yeah, that's why I'm unstoppable, because life has been easy for me so far, and that would be really not great for me to stop doing what I'm doing, and trying to cry, and trying to complain, because compared to others, my life is very easy.
Well, that's great. Yeah. I mean, when you see other people struggling, you think that that person is just like me. If I were in that situation, would I have the strength to do what they're doing? And with a lot of people, I think you would. Even though you're injured in some way, you still want to get outside. You still want to go for a walk. You still want to succeed as much as you can. And now I think you have that drive too.
I think so. In a way, I wish I would never have to find out, but
Right? Yeah. I don't want to find out.
but yeah, I think that it's hard for me to give up. You know, like when I play chess, for example, that is very. When I play chess, I never give up till the really end. If I'm done with only my king and 1 pawn, I still believe way for me to win. You know, until the really end, until I am completely blocked, and then the other is telling me it's checkmate. I will never give up. You know, and that's how I am in my life. It's like a chessboard. You know, until the really end. I will fight, and I will still believe that I can win until the really end.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode. I hope you enjoyed listening to it and learned a few things. Well, the people that we talked about today, they don't quit, and neither should you. Whether you're running marathons, rebuilding your life, or just searching for that next spark, you are more capable than you think. If this episode hits home, share it, subscribe, leave a review. Let's build this community together of relentless people who refuse to stop moving forward. And if you want to do something even bigger, support the mission. We're raising $1 million for medical research, and your support makes a difference. Check out our website at unstoppablestoriesthatmove.com. I'm Sally Hed Dahlquist. Until next time, keep running, keep pushing, and never stop proving to yourself what's possible.